I'm James Williams Jr. This is Kung Fu number 2, and this is the final part of the racist video. Alright, so I'm going to give you guys a throwback to when I was a child in the Hanna-Barbera days. Alright, everything I've ever seen from Hanna-Barbera in the Scooby-Doo era in my 70s and 80s were technically all reruns until Scooby and Shaggy Doo came out. Prior to that, there were very few black characters in cartoons, but in Scooby-Doo, they only had one group of black characters that I honestly truly remember was the Harlem Globetrotters. Alright? Any other time that I watched Scooby-Doo, up until like these more recent things, there weren't that many black people on there, but they had lots of famous people like Sandy Duncan and uh, the guy from Get Smart. I can't remember his name right now. Don Adams, and they even had Mr. Roper, Don Rickles, or not Don Rickles. What the hell was his name? Don Knotts. Sorry, Don Rickles. And that was slightly stereotyping. Um, and no, Don Rickles and Don Knotts do not look anything alike. Didn't you guys see the famous Mr. Something or another where he turned into a fish? Anyway, a lot of cartoons um, didn't have strong black characters. Ghostbusters had Winston Zedmore, but I don't recall really remembering too many more black people on the show. Tom and Jerry had that black lady who was basically a jigaboo. I'm sorry, that's basically what they panned her out to be. She was like an Aunt Jemima jigaboo. You've seen her big lips, but you never really seen her face, and you've seen that she was obese and fat. And black people don't all look like that, so that was kind of one of those racist episodes. I think one of the more positive characters that came out was probably He-Man, but there were no black people there. They were all different types of people, but no one was from that planet. Only his wife, his mom, was from Earth. So she's the only person who's ever actually seen black people. No one on Eternia has ever seen black people. Same thing with She-Ra. There were no black people, but they had good morals for the stories. Where Ghostbusters, G.I. Joe, and Transformers had people of all different ethnicities in them for the 80s and the 90s, but like those cartoons in the 60s and them didn't really have it. One of my favorite cartoon characters was John Thunder from Centurions, but there were no black people in Centurions that I can remember who was actually a Centurion. They had four white guys and a Native American who was an Apache named John Thunder. So black guys couldn't be Centurions. They didn't have any. But it was still a good cartoon. Nevertheless, there was a black Silverhawk. All right, there was no Asian Silverhawks, but there was a black Silverhawk. And then you had the Bionic Six. They had a black guy, had an Asian guy, had a white guy, a white woman, a white little girl, and a white teenage son. And they had the adopted two kids were black and Asian. So that wasn't bad, but it was a good cartoon. I don't remember them being too many black people in there. Galaxy Rangers. I don't remember there being too many black people outside of Doc in there. And if they were, the stories never really expanded on that. Um, Now, when the Power Rangers originally was in American TV, it was called Dynaman. There were no black people, there were no white people. They were just all Japanese people, which was the way I liked it. And then, let's see, along came one of my favorite cartoons, John Blackstar, but he wasn't black. He was of Native American descent, and he was lost in space, where there were no black people, there were no white people, just aliens. All right, that's the same thing with Brave Star. I don't recall seeing any black people in the cartoon, but Brave Star was the dark guy, so I guess we could relate. I still have the hair, and all I need is the white cap, and I could play Brave Star. I just don't have the height for it because he's like 6'2". So and I'm dreadfully afraid of horses, so that probably won't work for me because I got bit. But 3030, I think there might have been a black actor that might have talked for them, but you can't really see the actors when you're watching the cartoon because you're so enamored with the cartoon that you're not worried about that. Visionaries didn't have any black people, but it was still a good cartoon. Inhumanoids didn't have any black people, but they were good cartoons, and they made fun of Geraldo Rivera just like G.I. Joe, but G.I. Joe had black people. They had strong black leads like Roadblock, Heavy Duty, and Stalker, and other black characters. They didn't have any black females in the show, but nobody cared because everybody was really into Lady J and Scarlet and CoverGirl, both CoverGirls. Anyway, it's just one of those things, you have to kind of take with a grain of salt and you deal with it as best you can, and then you move forward. But as far as like cartoons, there weren't too many cartoons that was politically correct. The other Ghostbusters, they had two white guys and a fucking ape. you know. Then they had a flying car with wings. But you know, still a good cartoon depending on your taste of cartoons, I guess. And then you know, Tiger Sharks didn't have any black people. Um, there are a lot of other cartoons that came out that didn't really like emphasize on black people, but they had people in there. They just weren't any of them black. So there were a lot of other racist things that I grew up with. Thundar the Barbarian didn't have any black people. It had Uga the Monk. So I guess we assumed that he was supposed to be for us, but he was basically a fucking Yeti. You know, it's like Chewbacca or whatever. And Star Wars was like one of the first movies with people in space that actually had black people next to Star Trek. I don't really remember which ones came out first because I've always been a Trekkie fan. And Star Trek did less discriminating. They had black officers and everything. You know, Tuvok, Commander Cisco. You know, but as far as Star Wars, the only black person I truly remember in the whole damn movie was Lando Calrissian until Finn came out. But you know, again, hey, George Lucas has a black wife, so we pretty know that he's not a racist. But you know, on the same level, you know, back when all these things were coming out, I guess they didn't really. I'm sorry, they didn't really give us a lot of people of color to look up to. You know, they gave us a lot of aliens, but they never really gave us a lot of people of color to look up to. And that transcended from movies to TV to cartoons. You know, there weren't any like really black leadership roles. And in most Asian cartoons that came to American soil, there were no black people. You know, I don't know if Asians thought it would be offensive. I don't really know. Speed Racer, I don't recall any black people being a Speed Racer. Even when the 90s came out with Mach 5 Roar Like a Jungle Cat version of it, and Speed Racer's Mach 5 was like the Mustang Mach 3 thing looking. It wasn't the Mach 5 that my dad and them grew up with. It was a brand new Mach 5. Google it. It's the new Adventures of Speed Racer with him and Racer X, and they were fighting something I don't remember. But the theme song is Mach 5 roars like a jungle cat, danger hangs on every curve. Speed Racer and the gang all like it like that. Speed Racer's got the heart, he's got the nerve. And then they had the Speed Racer Junior cartoon that came out of Nickelodeon. And again, I really don't recall seeing any black people. But you know, a lot of cartoons don't really have a lot of black people. You know, and I don't know if it's a racist thing or maybe I'm just looking too deep into it. But you know, in that same breath, maybe it was something in production that just didn't go right. And you know, Back on Mice from Mars didn't have any black people, but it was a good cartoon. And I don't think that any of the cartoons that I named were bad cartoons just because they didn't have any racist or racism in it or race people of color in it. You know, like I said, Silverhawks had black people in it. Thundercats didn't, but they did have a Japanese guy. You know, Hachi Man. He came through a time portal. Him and Lion-O fought, and he beat Lion-O, etc., etc. And you know, when you dig too deep into that, it becomes racist. You know, instead of a good cartoon. So let's not go there. But when you're looking at things like you watch Scooby Doo, and they had one particular group of basketball players who were black, but no other real black interactions until like the middle 2000s and stuff, where now they have more diversity characters. And I think it might have just been like laws in place to prevent this shit from happening. Because you know they didn't want to offend people, and I guess everything was catered more to white kids than black kids. But black kids watch Scooby Doo. Now I do have one that was good for you, and I want to say it was a mistake that I made the last time with HR Puff and stuff. But this time I'm gonna get it right. It was the Banana Splits with the Mysterious Island or whatever the island thing was with Jan Michael Vincent. They had a black guy in there. It was a tall black guy. And the electric company had the most famous black guy that I know. Morgan Freeman was on the electric company for a long time. So, you know, he was a tall black guy. Yeah, Morgan Freeman. He was on there with Spider-Man. So, you know, it was some stuff. The Bloodhound Gang had black people in it from 321 Contact. So, you know, when we don't pay attention to things, we miss things. When we don't learn from our mistakes of the past, we're bound to repeat them. When the Pirates of the Dark Water came out, everybody who was young and of color wanted to be Ren. I wanted to be Ren. I didn't want to be Ayaz. I wanted to be Prince Ren with that broken ass sword and that flying monkey thing. And I wanted to date Tula and wanted to sail on adventures on that little ship that he stole. And it was pretty good. And Hanna-Barbera, if you're listening, I am more than willing to dye my hair blonde and get in a blue outfit, no matter how much I hate blue, and be Ren. I got the size for it, and I can fence a little bit. Not a whole lot, but that's what the editing in movies for. Anyway, um, as I close out with this whole thing about racism, we need to find a way to overcome this. We need to find a way to get our shit together. And in the end, we need to all understand that we are all human. We all bleed red. We all need air and water to breathe. And we all love chicken. Okay, most of us love chicken. I'm James Winston Jr. This is Come Five at number 2. Be seeing you.